It's day 5 of 9 candles, and I have the lovely Miss Kim, Medium Kim Copeland, who's going to be here to help celebrate with us today. And so I'm going to go to the candle lighting part, and then we're going to come back and talk to Kim about earth ley lines and all this stuff. 9 candles in conjunction with the equinox. Equal day, equal night. Balance the light and the dark. As the daytime shortens to this point, the ley lines, energetic nerves of the planet, straighten out and stay in bounds. It's time for us to connect with the elements of our planet. It's time for rapid changes. We pause to consider our own boundaries. And with this ritual, we consider where we have been and where we are going. We're going to light the candles. I have to move this or I'm going to burn myself up, and that's not the object of this game. No, it's not. Ooh, there we go. Okay. And small rituals, personal, of our own personal kind, and those we share with others, help us connect with our evolving self and connect and reconnect with others. Love and hope, light and warmth, our world needs them all. And with that in mind, we're going to talk to Kim about earth energies and her take on them. So what you got to say, girl?
Thank you, and good morning, Nancy Jean. Thank you for having me.
I feel so glad you could make it.
Well, I feel so honored because this is to my heart. It does, I feel it in my heart, the idea of taking a moment to really recognize the time, the change, the equinox time, and also how important it is that we recognize what we have, our abundance from our harvest that we just grew, whether we grew it in our own garden or somebody else's garden. Our earth is produced a lot of food for us in the summer. And now it's time to recognize that, come and bring in the harvest, but also prepare for the next season too, which is like the planting of the carrots or the beets or the onions. And notice also, I was reminded, Nancy Jean, about my children's education because they went to a Waldorf school. And that school really does honor the seasons. It honors all the holidays. And so this is actually what you would find even more elaborate, though, in a Waldorf school for the children in their classroom. Instead of the ABCs on the wall, they would honor the seasons. It was very beautiful. And I just want to show you. So this little gnome, remember the gnomes are real. And my son made this, he crocheted it. And I just think this is adorable. It's made out of wool and wool inside and wool yarn. And I just think of the gnomes helping with the gardening. And we got to remember, we think, oh, are these just in a fairy book? No, these are real. Gnomes are real. They do help us. And sometimes we see them, but most of the time we don't. So I just remember that. And then, I think it's a time to, think of the harvest, right? The pumpkins are just coming in, I think we're just about to get probably in about a month, we'll be picking the pumpkins. And so just, even that is a nice, beautiful ritual. And if we can go back to the childlike enthusiasm and childlike wow of the earth and notice, and it is the colors of the orange and the red and the yellow season, which is about the earth. The red is very much related to the earth, and the orange is about think of it as illumination. The orange and the yellow you put together, and that's illumination. I would like us to even imagine that we are more illumined when we honor the earth, and when we feel grounded to the earth. My kids, when they were growing up, they had this song. Is it okay if I sing it?
Oh, sure.
There's a couple. Okay. And so I'm not a professional singer, so I'll just tell you that. But, okay. Give thanks to the Mother Earth. Give thanks to the Father Son. Give thanks to the plants in the garden where the mother and the father are one. And then another was, for trees so tall and sky so blue, for family and food we thank you. And you know, if you think of the family as our tribe, and that's again the color of the red. Just really breathe in. I just want to have all of us take a moment to breathe in the red, the orange, and the yellow. See how that feels in the body, to breathe that in. It's a grounding. It's a beautiful color coming up. And just imagine the center of the earth, just with the Mother Earth's fingers coming up to hold us and cradle us. And perhaps we'll see Mother Earth in the trees. Perhaps we'll see her face as we're walking in the woods. And you might even notice sometimes a tree looks like it has a face, right? So just with your imagination and your pretend, it's okay to pretend that, oh, I see a face in that tree. And we can go back to just the awe of our inner child and allow that to really bring us joy, because we want to have the joy of honoring the earth.
That's right. And that's what this is the time to do. Like you said, the equinox, things are equal day and equal night, but on the solstices, when we're our most extreme, the longest day and the shortest night, or the shortest day and the longest night, the earth actually stops. The energies that pulse around us from the earth, they're measured in ley lines. They actually stop and they wiggle a little bit with moon phases. They kind of go back and forth. But on those days, no matter what the phase of the moon or anything else, they go stick straight and they head towards when they create a web around the world, and where they create their big nodules are what we call very holy places. And they're all over the world. And they're places that the indigenous people in this country held as sacred. And then there's one in Wisconsin called High Holy Hill. And it's now got a big Catholic church on the top of it. But there's centuries and centuries of people have migrated to this place to worship it. Same thing with the what used to be called Ayers Rock, Uruhu, I think is what they call it now, the big red promontory stone that's in the middle of Australia. You have to really go out of your way to find that thing.
Oh, wow. And it's red. See, and here we've got another red.
Oh, it's red. Yeah, it's red. And the indigenous people of Australia, they had what they called song lines, and they would get in a single line and they would sing on their way going into there. And when they came in with mostly people can, on your own, you can do it with dowsing rods. The problem with earth energies is there's such a low vibration that it takes very, very special instruments to find it. And the only country that's invested a lot of money into trying to find it is Japan.
Oh, interesting.
And they feel that, but they have a lot of intersections in Japan. They have lots of temples that have been there for centuries. And it's truly, the earth creates lines to tell us these are the sacred spaces. So this is a time when the whole planet kind of stops and says, we're acknowledging this, and then it goes back about its not so terribly busy ways of the lines moving back and forth, but goes back to a more normal pattern. We're in a fascinating time with the shift in the photonic energy from 2017. We are getting more and more subatomic particles on the earth, and they're also affecting all this. They're affecting how the inner core is expanding and contracting. And these lines are kind of the inevitable outcroppings of them. Now, if you go looking for ley lines, you won't find a line on the ground. You have to either dowse for it or use instruments to find it energetically, but they're there. And they're there for good and they're there for bad. Some ley lines get a little misaligned and then you kind of feel uncomfortable there. So it's one of the things that I'm hoping to have a guy on who does house healings, where he goes in and he uses ley lines and energetic studies to do that. He's in England, but it's really fascinating. And the fact that it's been going on since time immemorial, and you can find the Templars were really big on ley lines. They were really big on following them, and they're really big on building their churches at the most important points where they met. So you got
Mhm.
all kinds of mysterious things, and we see it every day around us. It's not a mystery. It's just
Uh-huh.
we don't choose to acknowledge it as part of our everyday.
Mhm. Well, I think it's such a good reminder to go back to the basics, go back to the energies, go back to what nature is calling us to recognize in her, the power of the nature. You know how healing it is,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not we know we're on a ley line or whether or not we're on a diamond mine, you know, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, no, anywhere, as long as we can honor where we are, I
Right.
think, and know the magnificence of ourself as well as the earth. I mean, and we're all one. Remember, I mean, so many times Mother Mary has showed me that earth and then the people, it's one unit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, we're not just, okay, a group of people and then a group of animals, a group of whales, and then
Mm-hmm.
earth separate. No, it's all together. And everything we can do, shine our light, light our candles, know our light is in our heart. I think all this helps just bring more light to the world too.
Right. Well, it's just like it says, um, love and hope, light and warmth. Our world needs them all, and
Yes.
we all need it all. And the elementals that kind of woke me up one in a dream and said, you got to do this thing, you got to talk about this. They're very concerned that humans, we can go into a 5D kind of consciousness, and
Yeah.
when we get there, we're going to see them, because that's why we can't see them now, because
Uh-huh.
their vibration is so much higher than ours. But if we can raise our vibrations, do all these things, but if we just do it just so that I have 5D, you're over there, and that kind of, the second you get into that finger pointing, you just lower it all again anyway. So
Right.
by acknowledging them and acknowledging our whole, that we are all part of one system. This is all getting back to the universal oneness.
Yeah, yeah. And the purity of heart.
Mhm.
Always, you're right. It's always going back to the heart because this is where you find everything.
Well, and it's funny that you picked up the red, orange, and yellow, which are the three base chakras.
Uh-huh.
Then you
Right.
get to the heart, which is green. Then you
Mhm.
get to the throat, that's blue. And so all those things need to blend together, and they need to learn how to express themselves together.
Integration. Yeah,
Mhm.
connection and integration.
Mhm.
But yeah, but we know, I mean, this is the time when the leaves are about to turn. So we
Oh, yeah.
can, as people notice the leaves, even that is another thing. Just breathe in the joy of that. And
Mhm.
I bet the people who do that, they start seeing the
Mhm.
gnomes and the fairies and the energies, or sensing it. And maybe I'm sure that a lot of people watching you already do this, already sense the energies of our nature. But even more so when we have our joy and just noticing it makes,
Yes.
yeah, just taking a moment. It doesn't take long. Just
Mhm.
take a moment. And thank you for really inspiring me to do this, because I mean, I did this and I'm thinking, well, I'm just going to keep this up because I thought, it's important
Mhm.
and also, you know, every season is so important that we connect to Earth every season. So thank you.
Right. And connect back to our families and our loved ones who've been part of those seasons with us,
Yeah.
and welcoming in the new people who follow the same, can begin to be interested in the rituals we're doing, be interested in the knowledge we're collecting,
Yes.
because change is happening so furiously. And I just think anything that you can do to make yourself look at the world a little differently is going to help your perspective and help you make it through.
Yes. Yes. And thank you for bringing this to the community, because I think many people, their family now is this community.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh, yeah.
mean, we have such a connection here. We're all the like-minded souls coming
Mm-hmm.
together, and our families may not be the same like mind. And
Mm-hmm.
so people, I think, really are attracted to this community that you've provided, that a lot of us have provided as family.
Yes. And I think, that great and small, that the ceremonies are important. And sometimes we would get so bound up in dealing with the big ceremonies, we didn't pay attention to the little ones, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
and really open your heart up to let the energy of nature in, and it'll come. I mean, trust me, it's not scary. You would think waking up with a dragon in your bedroom that wants to take you off to see the elementals would be scary, but actually his name's Cecil and he's kind of a good guy. But I'm just saying, that's my world. You don't have to come join that world, but I would just hope everyone would spend a little time acknowledging the things we share in common, like lighting these candles. Each day, the intention gets a little stronger. By the time we get to the 9th candle, usually there's quite a following of people who've been going along with it. There's people who go back and weren't aware of it, and they go back and start at 1, even if it's not the same day as my 1, and light their candles and follow the messages. And it gives us a chance to kind of create a more cohesive message instead of dashing off after the latest headline or who did what to who.
Yeah, thank you. Really, it's such a inspiration, Nancy Jean.
Oh, well, I enjoy watching Kim. I enjoy watching Kim do interviews. I've just been very, very busy with my other work, the grids and the readings and the other things. But I'm hoping to collaborate with Kim again, besides having to pull her out every 4 times a year for the candles.
No, I think we have something planned. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about how to charge crystals.
Right, how to work with
Okay,
crystals.
we've got that coming up, but we got to put it on the calendar.
Okay, we don't have a date yet, guys.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we will have one. We will have one. Anyway, the 9 candles, if you're following us and you're on day 5, you realize we started on the 17th. We will end on the 25th, which is the 25th of September, which is the new moon. And that's a perfect time for you to anything you've been inspired to think about or thought, maybe I need to employ more rituals. Even put that as your intention, to find and employ more rituals. Because the second you do that, then you'll find and begin more rituals. You'll see them all around you, great and small. They don't all have to be candles. They don't have to be. Some can just be, just taking time out every week to make sure one little part of your house gets really, really clean. One of the things I was investigating elementals, and they said fairies don't like messy houses, which is probably why they sent the dragon to my house.
Oh, it's a perfect time to get rid of the things that you don't bring you joy. Keep only those that bring you joy. Your clothes, everything, right?
Oh yeah, it's retrogrades. Retrogrades great for throwing stuff out.
Okay.
You'll look at everything twice, and then if you let it go, it needs to go.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. That's a great reminder too around that. Ooh.
Everybody says retrogrades are so horrible. Well, they're not. They give you a chance to redo, rethink, restart. And when you get as old as I am, you realize that some of the best things you did in your life is when you said, I'm not going to keep going this direction. I'm going to restart and go in a different one.
And that just reminds me of this time of the year. You're pulling out the vegetables, right?
Right.
You're putting in the new ones that are about to come. They're going to come up in the spring. So yeah, it's the same kind of a thing here.
Yes. I love gardening. I love plants because they are so like that for us. Well, we are going to blow the candles out, Miss Kim.
Okay.
And let's see. Okay.
Just giving thanks.
Giving thanks for the lessons we've learned today, for the lessons that will come to us tomorrow, for all the good passage ahead of us in this change of season. Oh, one thing I didn't tell you, Kim. This is the stone. I always have a stone at the center. And this is a fairy stone. It looks like a really light amethyst, but it's more pink than purple. And it's called a fairy stone. If you can find them, they're actually pretty rare. It's hard for those colors to get that light.
Oh, is it a quartz though, like amethyst?
Oh, all 99.9% of any stone is quartz. I mean, the easiest thing you can say is stuff is quartz. All amethysts are quartz, because of their actual shape. And plants are very, I just did a whole thing on the sacred geometry of plants, but plants tend to grow in 5s. If you've ever cut an apple core open and you can see the 5 little seed things, it looks exactly like the flower it came from. Okay.
Okay.
Most plants grow in fives. They grow
Oh,
in
I
numbers
didn't.
of five. And most plants grow in kind of more differing kind of combinations of numbers. Crystals are very, very, they can be very rectilinear and actually have square shapes in them, or octahedrons and stuff. They have very straight sides, but
Yep.
plants are more fluid.
Okay.
But I will tell you, when you and I discuss quartz, when we discuss cleansing crystals, they're just as alive as you and I are. So if you treat them well, they will take good care of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ooh, okay.
So we're going to say goodbye now.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Blessings, blessings.